Conservative leader Friedrich Merz has been elected the new German Chancellor in the second round of voting in the Bundestag.
Romania's interim president appointed the current interior minister Cătălin Prudoi as the interim prime minister after the coalition's defeat in the presidential race.
Sudan's paramilitary rebel group RSF launched drone attacks on the Red Sea city of Port Sudan on Tuesday.
The European Union has set 2027 as the target for ending its dependence on Russian energy. A roadmap is presented for eliminating the last imports of gas, oil and uranium.
Conservative leader Friedrich Merz has been elected the new German Chancellor in the second round of voting in the Bundestag. His previous failure to win support in the German parliament was the first in the country's post-war history.
Friedrich Merz hat die erforderliche Mehrheit von mindestens 360.
Merz needed a majority of 316 out of 630 votes, well short of the 328 seats held by his coalition. That coalition is led by Merz's centre-right Christian Democratic Union and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union. They were joined by former Chancellor Olaf Scholz's centre-left Social Democrats. Because the first round was a secret ballot, it was not immediately clear and might never be known who had defected from Merz's camp. The far-right Alternative for Germany has demanded Merz step aside and called for fresh elections following his historic defeat.
Romania's interim president appointed Cătălin Prudoi, the current interior minister, as the country's new prime minister on Tuesday. Prudoi, a member of the National Liberal Party, will lead a caretaker government for up to 45 days with limited powers. He steps in after Marcel Ciolacu resigned on Monday, following their coalition's poor results in Sunday's presidential rerun. After casting his vote on Sunday, Prudoi said he voted for a presidency that would ensure balance and dialogue amid Romania's ongoing political turmoil.
George Simeon, winner of Romania's presidential first round of votes, defended his political stance during an exclusive interview with Euronews Romania. He addressed frequent accusations of being anti-Ukrainian, pro-Russian and Eurosceptic. Simeon says he advocates for a Europe of sovereign nations and opposes further EU federalization.
I am a Euro-realist. We want a Europe of nations, and I am the person who fought the most before entering the politics with Russian propaganda. Our problems with Ukraine is not about hatred, about opposing something. It's about Ukrainians that must respect international treaties and the right of national minorities. We have 500,000 of Romanian speakers in Ukraine, and they don't have the right to school and to church.
Simeons insisted he is firmly pro-NATO and supports increased defence spending.
For us, being a member of NATO is vital. We sacrificed a lot for being admitted to NATO. We invested a lot.
When speaking of the US, Simeon expressed strong alignment with the US Republican Party and the MAGA movement. The second round of presidential elections are scheduled for May the 8th.
As the Trump administration pushes forward with its mass deportation plans, it now says it will pay illegal immigrants $1,000 to return to their home countries. The Department of Homeland Security said it would also pay for travel assistance and that people who use an app called CBP Home would be deprioritized for detention and removal by immigration authorities. Trump made immigration enforcement and mass deportation a centerpiece of his campaign, but the execution remains costly. The Department of Homeland Security said it costs over $17,000 to arrest, detain, and remove someone who is in the U.S. illegally. Paying someone to leave voluntarily would cost much less, but critics question the strategy's effectiveness. One 2011 study found that similar programs around the world generally failed at encouraging large numbers of people to leave.
In the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps,
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has directed the active duty military to shed 20% of its four-star general officers. He also told the National Guard to shed 20% of its top positions and directed the military to cut an additional 10% of its general and flag officers across the force. The move is a continuation of deep cuts to senior ranks at the Pentagon since the start of Donald Trump's second term as president. Hegseth says the cuts will promote efficiency, but critics worry they could result in a more politicized force. Trump or Hegseth have already fired several top general officers since January, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the U.S. Army's only two female four-star officers. Hegseth claimed in a memo on Monday that the aim was to free the military from unnecessary bureaucratic layers.
But that does not mean
Sudan's paramilitary rebel group RSF launched drone attacks on the Red Sea city of Port Sudan on Tuesday morning, military officials reported. The airport, a hotel and a port were all apparently hit in the attacks. According to local media, the strikes also ignited fires. There have been no reports yet of casualties or of the full extent of the damage. Port Sudan also serves as an interim seat for Sudan's military allied government. Information Minister Khalid Al-Issa accuses the United Arab Emirates of arming the paramilitary RSF, claims the UAE has rejected. A similar attack had already happened on Sunday on the Red Sea port city. Since April 2023, at least 24,000 people have been killed.
The US President posted on his social media page on 5th of May that he would impose a 100% tariff on films made outside the US. The American film industry is dying at a rapid pace. Other countries are offering all kinds of incentives to lure filmmakers and studios away from the US. That's why I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce to immediately begin the process of imposing a 100% tariff on all foreign-produced films coming into our country, Donald Trump said in his post. The details are not known at all, but if it does happen, a lot of countries will be very badly off, including Hungary, where last year film spending was close to $1 billion.
Eljutottunk oda, hogy ma már egy globális filmgyártásról beszélünk. Jóformán nincs is olyan nagy játékfilm, ami nem globálisan készül. Hát gondoljunk bele egy Mission Impossible-be, hány helyszínen forog, vagy egy James Bond filmbe, az is legalább 4-5 országban játszódik. De akármelyik, nem tudom, milyen ismertebb Gyűrűk ura, Blade Runner, ezek mind rengeteg helyen forognak, mert egész egyszerűen így jön létre ez a kulturális terv. Azt gondoljuk, hogy ahogy issá változott a gyártás, a folyamata észszerűség eredménye, és most ez a törekvés több film legyen az Egyesült Államokban, ez egy jogos törekvésük, biztos fognak rá megoldást találni, a mostani állapot pedig inkább egy felkiáltó jel, és értjük, van egy ilyen igény, abszolút megértjük. Mi is azt szeretnénk, hogy még több film forogjon Magyarországon.
Just how fluid the issue is can be seen by the fact that President Trump later promised to consult with representatives of the US film industry, and the White House said that no final decision on tariffs on films made abroad has been made yet. Responding to questions from journalists, Trump stressed that film production and the offshoring of films has decimated the US film industry and that he wants to help, not hurt, the industry, which receives financial and other support abroad.
Jobs. That's all what it's very important.
The European Union has set 2027 as the target for ending its dependence on Russian energy. On Tuesday, the European Commission presented its roadmap for eliminating the last imports of gas, oil and uranium. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the EU has already significantly reduced its independence. Gas imports have fallen from 45% in 2021 to 19% last year. They should reach 13% by 2025. The share of Russian oil has fallen from 27% in 2022 to 3% today. For the Commission, it's necessary to go further in order to avoid any blackmail from Moscow.
Putin has shown many times that he's willing to weaponize energy, and that is obviously not a very nice situation to be in for the European Union's member states. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is that we have been buying Russian gas and energy the last couple of years for billions of euros, and those money, they go directly to the war chest of Putin, and that is of course also something that we need to stop.
To achieve this, the Commission is proposing to ban new contracts with Russian gas suppliers by the end of the year. For the remaining imports, the longer-term contracts purchases will have to cease in 2027. The Energy Commissioner hopes that the proposal will be adopted by all member states. However, unanimity is not required in order to avoid any paralysis caused by a capital. Hungary and Slovakia have expressed their reservations in the past.
It's also very clear that the proposals that I put forward today do not need unanimity, so a qualified majority can adopt this. And this also means that if there are a few countries that do not support, then unfortunately we will have to go ahead anyway, because this is so important for the security of the Union. It's so important for the solidarity that we need to show with Ukraine, that even though I obviously hope for full support, a majority can also vote this through.
Unlike sanctions, these import bans do not have to be renewed at regular intervals, which again is a way of preventing a member state from blocking the Union.